And we're like, what a bunch of savages. It's a quiet period, you know? And within an hour, swear to God, Rudy was on the table. And we were just so like, put it in our mouth, Rudy. Rudy. It was good. Rudy was delicious. But we were traumatized.
I named my cat Rudy in honor of this story. So I have Rudy at home,
great.
right? And Rudy is on my Twitter. Yes.
That is great. And flying into Corpus Christi International Airport, probably got lost because it's
it's
hard to
very funny.
navigate.
And our wonderful driver who's taking us, he's going, wow, it's a little crowded today. And I'm like, just shut up, okay? Until you've been to LAX, I do not want to hear about how crowded it was. I mean, there's nobody, right? And we're driving here, and it's like rush hour, and there's like 3 cars, and I'm like, no. At 3 in the morning in LA, you would have many more cars than that. It's just, it's incredible. That's a real plus about Corpus Christi, I got to tell you. Your highways, you can just drive. Oh, it's nice.
Yeah. And Michael, you're going to be working on a pilot's license, or do you already have one? Or?
I already have a pilot's. I've been flying since 88.
Oh, wow.
1988. I know. It's a long time. And, but yeah, no, I've had several airplanes and I buy and sell. And because of Star Trek, I was able to fly with the military a lot, which is fantastic. Flew with the Blue Angels, the Thunderbirds, the Yokies, flying F-16s and dogfighting and air refueling, and went on an aircraft carrier in an F-18. Yeah. Right. That was, it was like you've never felt anything or done anything like that in your life to match that. And after that, they called me and they said, oh, Michael, the Air Force called and they want you to see if you wanted to go for a ride in F-15. And after that one, I went, nah, that's all right. Because it was just taking off a runway was just boring. I mean, we did 3 cat shots and 4 traps, and it was just amazing what they do, yeah. And this guy that I flew with, I mean, he's qualified, and it was like he has been doing this all of his life. Just sort of.
It's amazing.
Boom.
You know, I was so impressed with the Blue Angels and how they do the prep before they actually fly. Yeah. I bought the video, you know, because I taught acting stuff in a lot of theater classes, and I would actually have students watch how they were sat around at a table, and they'd close their eyes and they would visualize what they were going to do up there in these gajillion-dollar vehicles, and they'd go and right and back and then down.
The boss, the boss. A little pull up, power, and over. But I got to tell you, my last little story is that I had flown with the Blues initially in 93, 94. And they said, hey, we'd like you to do some videos. So every year I would do like their promotional video that they sent out, the Blue Angels, you know, and with the voice and everything. And this last time I did, they said, okay, Michael, we know we can't pay you, but we're going to give you a ride. And I go, well, you know what? That's nice, but I've already had a ride. And it's usually 1 per customer. They don't do 2. And they said, no. We're going to give you a ride in formation.
Oh, God.
The slot guy. And I went, and so that's the good part. The bad part is I got bumped 3 times from the ride. The first time was at Miramar, and I'm down there, I'm ready to go, and they say, sorry, General Bolton, he was an astronaut, he's going to do the ride. Sorry, you can't do it. I went, oh, okay, well, he's a general. What are you going to do? And then the second time, I was up at Point Magoo in L.A., And it's notorious for fog. So I get up there, I'm talking to the boss, and we're getting ready to go. He says, Michael, I got to go out and do a test, and if it's good, we'll take you, but if not, we're doing the low show, and we can't take you. Okay, great. And so he goes out, and you see him take off and do a big circle, and he disappears in the fog. And he comes back, and he goes, sorry, no. But don't worry, we're doing Fleet Week in San Francisco. You're gonna. And that's when I went in with them, and I'm sitting in the room while they're doing their thing. And I'm going, okay, this is very cool. And I had an F-86, and I flew up there and took it out. So I was like, super cool. And we march out to the airplane, and I'm in there, and they have a video, and I'm just happy as a clam. I'm ready. The canopy comes down, and then you hear, right aileron, right aileron. And all of a sudden, there was a problem with the right aileron. And they were taking out the black boxes and trying to fix it, and for about 10 minutes. And finally he says, Michael, I got some good news and bad news. Good news is there's another jet. The bad news is you can't come. And so the canopy comes up, and the little sailor came up to me after I got out of the airplane, and I'm walking back. He says, oh, here's your video from the flight. And it's the funniest video because you see me get in, strap in, canopy comes down, I'm smiling, canopy comes up, and I get out. That's my video. Anyway.
That's theater.
That's aviation.
That is awesome. So these days, trying to questions, it's actually really easy, but it's also hard because there's so much information. You don't know how much of it's true if you believe everything on the internet, but
don't. That's in a word, don't believe everything on the internet.
That's a good way to go about it. So some of this stuff may feel like to people they're obvious questions. Gates, I know that you've done some directing and some choreography along with your acting, and I would say out of all of those things, you've had very proud moments and achievements. But what would be one of the things that one of your proudest moments?
Well, in life, the proudest moment was giving birth. But I think in career things and work, it's hard to really pinpoint one thing down. There's such an adrenaline rush when you do theater, okay? When you have a huge audience in some place and there's like 2,000 people and you're doing something, that is a huge rush. And I love that. And there have been nights in my life that there's nothing like it because it's something between you and the audience. It's not just about you. You know, every night, like something could go wrong and has on many performances, like the phone doesn't work, so there's no phone ring, and, you know, what are you going to do? But that's kind of an awesome feeling as far as I'm concerned. But it's also the same feeling when you're teaching, which I've done for 35 years in different theater programs and stuff. And when somebody has a breakthrough, that's kind of like awesome too. And they do something amazing. I've had some incredible students that, in fact, I'm going to be doing a couple days in a film that was by one of my students from USC. Like, I learned from that. I also loved the time I got to direct Genesis, just because I had been sitting there for 7 years wanting to do a shot with certain things, and you finally get to do it, and it's fun, and you're looking at something in that way. I love all of them, and I don't know which one I would love more, to be honest. It's just been a gift to be able to do so many different things in my life.
And as far as playing Beverly Crusher, what would you say?
Who?
You scared me for a second. That's real.
Wait a minute. Is this about a space show? Yes, Dr. Beverly Crusher. Yes.
Yeah. What was your favorite part about playing her? Would you say?
Gosh, I don't know. It was just. I had never done that kind of like a series where you really were doing it day after day. So it was just more hanging around and being with the cast. And there were funny times. My favorite times were when I had something that had a little bit of comedy or else had something pithy. You know, it wasn't as much Because we were really had some of the best times when we were just in the observation lounge or standing on the bridge, because we would all get so funny that we would just start laughing. But they were not artistically the most amazing moments. I don't know. It's hard to say. There were different episodes that were really, really memorable to do, like Remember Me. I loved doing that. You know.
Did it feel good to say, "Shut up, Wesley"?
Oh, it did. But see, Will Wheaton, I adore. We are close. We still see each other. He's family. I mean, he's my space son. I just adore him. I really do. And I have to say, Gene Roddenberry was so smart. He was so prophetic to say, kids are going to be doing it. You know, they're the ones who are going to be saving the ship, because every time I have a problem with my app, who do I go to but a millennial? I mean, really, right? Was he right or not? And all the original fans, they were so mean about Wesley Crusher. They were like, wow, is this kid going to be doing that? Yeah, right. What are they saying now?
That was going to be another question is, during the show, over the course of the time doing the show, a lot of hard work and long days. So, the relationships grow. Say, what kind of special bonds were between the different cast members, and what happened to help create those bonds? And I think you touched on that with your Will Wheaton story right there. And what about you, Michael?
Earth to Michael. Don't think.
I mean, it's kind of not an odd question. It's not the right word for it, but it is a complicated question, because, from where I stood, my relationship with each person is different. And when you were working with that person or this person, separately, you had a whole set of really cool things that was going on. And when you worked all together, that's a whole nother set of good things. But I just think it was lightning in a bottle for us. I mean, we really, they couldn't have put together a crew if they tried, if that's what they were trying to do, of people who got along so well, and who had, with any family, you're going to have, like little moments and things like that. But in general, just people that got along so well was a real, it wasn't the norm in the business, and so it was odd at times, when you just go, wow, how did we all get, I mean, how do we arrive at? I don't know, but it was, but I don't question it. I just enjoyed it.
One of my favorite stories was when we had already started, they had started filming, and I was doing a play that I had to finish up. And so I didn't get to be in the original bridge scenes because I had to be down doing something. So I only was going to be doing sick bay in the first something, or I was doing one scene with Jonathan and Will for Far Point. And so I'm for the next episode, I'm in the chair, the makeup chair, and I'm doing this. And then this really good-looking guy comes up and he starts talking to me and kind of acting like he knows me, and I'm like answering, "Isn't this great?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then he leaves, and I say to Michael Westmore, the makeup guy, I say, "What's that?" He says, "Oh, that's the guy who's playing Worf. That's Michael Dorn." Did not recognize him. He looked so different as Worf, and I had never seen him out of makeup, that I'm like, that good-looking man is Worf? Oh, snap. Okay.
It's got to feel pretty good, dude. Putting on that makeup.
Just saw me.
Putting on that makeup for all those episodes, that had to be a hassle, man.
Yeah, it was the worst. People say, how do you do it? And basically, and this is the truth, I read the LA Times newspaper from cover to cover and did the crossword. And by the end of the crossword puzzle at the end, they would be done. It would be like that. And but we figured out, Michael and I, Mike Westmore, the makeup artist, we figured out that I did 1,000 makeup. And or more, but we kind of averaged that it was 1,000 makeups. Yeah,
a
it
lot.
was,
And then the character of Worf, a very fit character, warrior, so you had to be fit and probably had some training. We're kind of.
Oh, we all had padding, every
no,
single one
no,
of us.
well,
Seriously.
you played it off really well.
yeah, no, I was always a fan, you know, of martial arts. I never really studied martial arts, but I was a fan of martial arts and always athletic, always, you know, played baseball all my life and football and tennis, and so I was very athletic. But Dan Curry was the guy who was a special effects supervisor on our show, and he's the guy that taught me a lot of martial arts because he was a martial arts master, and so we incorporated that after the second season into the Klingon lore, and you know I got to say the writers were pretty terrific with my character because whatever we did, they kind of took off with, you know, and amplified it more. So it became the Klingon martial arts, or Worf would be doing martial arts in his room, or, you know, and the Batleth. You know, there's a Batleth tournament, you know, and so they really took off on that, which is great.
Which is, and it was great, and it was, but trust me, male and female, we were all padded. But anyway, the thing that always got me was I had done karate, aikido, and tai chi, and a bunch of martial arts, and I had done stage combat. So, but as a woman, it was like, you know, in the Robin Hood episode, it was like, just take the frying pan down. You know, there were like no moves, which was really too bad because I'd done fencing, I'd done all that. So at that point, I don't think they're that way now, but it was definitely not a super feminist thing in terms of what women were doing. Now, I think it's really changed, which is awesome. But I thought that the Klingon stuff personally was amazing. I think that they really did create a fabulous history about the Klingons and stuff.
Really cool. I was going to ask if you felt like you were able to personally bring anything to your characters that weren't written in, and I'm sure that just naturally happens and develops over time. If you could give me an example of one or two characteristics or things that you brought to your character yourself or that developed from you being the person playing that character, what would it be?
Well, my lab coat, when I was pregnant, my lab coat got bigger and bigger every week. Pretty soon it was like bigger than 3 ski parkas because I gained 40 pounds. And I was shot behind desks a lot, but that was really the only thing. The rest would be the writers would hear about something we did in our own lives and they might add it in, you know. I mean, that's how Crusher ended up being the theater coach on the ship, is because I was teaching at USC. You know, it's a little bit different, but whatever. And then the tap dancing came because Gene's lawyer had seen me relaxing. I would, in the dark, I tap danced outside in my uniform. I would just tap dance, not for anybody, just for myself. That, I didn't ask to put it in, but they put it in, so that's how it, me.
Might have an example.
I didn't. The only thing I did was that the original, the character Worf just was a name on a page. They really didn't have any idea of who he was, except beyond he was a Klingon. They didn't. And when I asked Gene about how he wanted me to play the character, he just said, make the character your own. So he just wanted something totally different, which was great. And somebody asked me, is a lot of Worf in you, or you a lot of Worf? I mean, you know, kind of. And I didn't think so at